Welcome to MLB Network Presents. As epic as the 2016 World Series was, and as cathartic as it was for Chicago Cub fans, there was another side to the story, namely the excruciating ending for the Cleveland Indians. The Indians now have been without a championship longer than any franchise in the game. Still, the long wait doesn't mean they haven't come close. And in the 1990s, they came very close, with a tremendous collection of talent that Indian fans adored. Even now, looking back, in some ways for the folks in Cleveland, it almost feels like they did win it all. Almost.
This is just a tremendous sight out here. Listen to this crowd. This is an unbelievable moment. It's a victory lap Cleveland style.
50,000.
They know these people love them.
50,000 people who lined the streets for a parade to celebrate a baseball team. One of the most talented hitting teams ever put together.
You got to be watching this, and I tell you, your heart's probably in your stomach, too.
Cleveland shut down that day. The whole city, screaming for the players like they were rock stars.
Give Toby! Give Toby! Future Hall of Famer Eddie Murray!
They dropped confetti. They gave speeches.
Today we celebrate the most spectacular baseball team that Cleveland has ever put on the field.
And now, imagine something else. Imagine what it would have looked like if the Indians had actually won the World Series.
This is the baseball city of the 90s. We ain't gonna wait another 40 years, I can tell you that. We're coming back here again next year.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Doyle here, welcoming all you friends of the Feather to another season of Indians baseball.
You know, it's funny, I'd been on the job 2 weeks, and they've got this movie Major League coming in. I said, hey, well, what is that? And so I went down to the premiere. You know, I'm going, all right, this is piling on.
Listen to the roar of the crowd as the Indians take the field.
So yeah, maybe it wasn't the best timing when John Hart joined the Cleveland Indians front office in 1989. With our movie Major League, the biggest hit the team had had in years.
You know, here we are coming in and, you know, taking over this franchise, and here I got to sit through this 2-hour movie.
What team do you play for, Jay?
The Indians?
I didn't know they still had a team.
I laughed along with it, but inside I was like, really? I mean, this is what we're going to have to go through?
But the hard truth was that Hollywood had gotten it right. The Indians hadn't made the postseason since 1954, and hadn't exactly come close either.
Moving Major League was literally the only time in a lot of people's lives the Indians ever won.
When they're making movies about you, that's not a good thing.
The teams were terrible. You never expected anything good to happen. If they finished 500, that was a plus.
Be a believer with the Cleveland Indians.
This could be the big year.
This is a sleeping giant.
I think the ball club has a lot of potential.
The Indians turned the corner.
In '86, Indian summer, and this is going to happen.
The team is on fire. Indian fever is taking the town.
You know, but that season, you know, fell flat.
The Cleveland Indians look to put seasons of frustrations behind.
In '87, Sports Illustrated had picked them to win the World Series.
You're the winner at every game. That's when the excitement begins.
And they go on and lose 100 games. It was, you know, it was just that kind of thing. They always had a financial crunch. You know, the toilets were overflowing at the old stadium. There was mice running around the press box. There was nobody at the ballpark.
A couple times we played in the old municipal stadium. We got, I think, 300 people in the stands. 300 people in a ballpark who take 85,000? Are you kidding me?
The joke used to be, you know, somebody would call the ticket office and say, hey, what time's tonight's game? And the answer would be, when can you get here?
You know, when I told my friends that I got my first job in baseball from the Cleveland Indians, it was like, Cleveland, really? And my dad turned to me and said, are you sure this is what you want?
So maybe Cleveland didn't look like a place anyone in baseball wanted to be. But there was one ray of hope in the late 80s. A new owner named Dick Jacobs, who'd bought the club with the novel idea of putting together a winner.
What Dick Jacobs made a career doing was, he would say, buying distressed properties. Well, he found one in the Cleveland Indians.
Jacobs brought in Hank Peters, a veteran baseball man, to run his front office. And Peters' first two hires were 40-year-old Hart and 29-year-old Dan O'Dowd.
It was rather depressing walking into those offices and recognizing the challenges that we had in front of us.
We were trying to build something in Cleveland, a team that had lost its fan base. We looked at it and said, hey, we're starting with a blank slate. You know, the game's about the players. Let's get the players. Let's put the right people in place. And as much as we looked around at an empty stadium and not a lot of hope, we did. We had hope. We believed that, you know, we could make this thing work.
When John Hart came in, one of the scouts scouted the whole farm system and said, you got one player, Albert Bell.
A lot of people were comparing me to the guy, Major League, doing the voodoo who couldn't hit the breaking ball.
You joker. I do it myself.
Back then, Albert was Joey. He wasn't Albert, and he was combustible. He was an extremely talented player with absolutely no filter of emotional control whatsoever.
He's known for his temper, and you could almost see the smoke coming out of his ears.
He fought coaches, he brooded, he fought teammates. Albert Bell was a man at war with himself.
He had some issues for not hustling.
I remember one time vividly, I flew into Kinston, North Carolina, and I sat before the game with him, and I said, Albert, you know, if you don't hustle while I'm here, I'm going to send you home. First at bat popped up, didn't run out. Next at bat, did the same thing, didn't run out, and looked at me in the stands, got to first base, and walked himself all the way, just walked across the field, like during the game, walked right across the field and walked to the clubhouse. And I see a cab pull up, and he got in the car and went home. Hank Peters said, you need to consider releasing him. I looked at him and I chuckled and I said, since it's my decision, I don't think we're going to let him go. And he laughed at me and goes, why would you want to put up with this? And I said, simply because he's the only really talented player we got in the entire system at that time.
The club only had one star at the major league level, too, outfielder Joe Carter. But after the '89 season, John Hart traded him to San Diego for a package of young players, including a top catching prospect, Sandy Alomar Jr., and an infielder hardly anyone had heard of.
This Carlos Baerga, you look at pictures of him, it's like this little penguin, you know, kind of like, sort of like this guy.
Hit well, straight away center. Gone! Home run for Carlos Baerga.
Well, he gets in there. He's starting at 320.
The Indians had served notice. Their front office was no laughingstock. And that same year, they drafted an unheralded community college player from Peoria, Illinois, in the 13th round.
My name is pronounced Jim Thome. A lot of people pronounce it Thome, Tome. It's pronounced Tome, like in toe and me.
You know, he was playing third base at the time, and he wasn't exactly, you know, dancing with the stars over at third base. He was a little, you know, he wasn't that good at third base, but he tried hard. I remember at spring training, we were playing Cincinnati, and Jim Bowden was sitting behind me, and, you know, two-hopper to Tommy, clang off the glove. Next one, he finally gets a glove on, he launches it into first base, and I remember Bowden leaned over and he said, that's your first mistake. He said, that's the mistake right there. And I went, we'll see, we'll see.
2 years later, the work continued when they drafted an eccentric teenager from Washington Heights, New York in the first round.
Our scouting director at the time, named Mickey White, walked in and saw Manny play in New York City and said, I had visions of Roberto Clemente when I see the guy play.
I'm never gonna forget about the first day that we saw him, you know, hitting in the batting cages.
Manny Ramirez, the rising star from Washington Heights.
He comes out and he starts taking BP, and he, you know, like, and he's just kind of pushing the ball out to right field.
Looping balls down the right field line. And I think we all kind of looked at each other like, you know, like, is this our #1 draft?
And I said, I better get over and start working with that kid.
And then all of a sudden the game like turned on.
And he started hitting the ball out of the ballpark. We say, wow.
He hit like 3 home runs in a doubleheader. It was impressive.
I said, no, I don't think I'm going to touch him.
After the '91 season, the Indians took another chance. going after an outfield prospect better known for his talents in another arena.
John Hart traded for a basketball player. Kenny played basketball with Steve Kerr and Sean Elliott at Arizona. I mean, he was a good player. He had to teach himself how to play baseball.
And 2 years later, Hart struck again.
Bouncing ball up the middle, diving stop, throw to second, out! There, what a play, Vizquel!
You know, I'd watched Omar over in Seattle, and I said, that is our missing piece. That's the shortstop that is going to add flair and verve to this ball club. I met with Edgar Martinez, who had played third base when I was managing in AA. I'd known Edgar for a long time, and so I kind of fishing a little bit. I said, Edgar, tell me a little bit about Jay Buhner. Oh, John, he's a good player. Tell me about Griffey. Oh, this guy's amazing. I said, how about the shortstop, what's his name, Vizquel? And he goes, oh, this guy's going to be exceptional. He's a winner, great defense, and he's going to hit. And then that night, I picked the phone up and made the trade for Omar. And the next day, it was a little tough around the ballpark with Edgar. He didn't want to talk to me. He wasn't real happy.
By 1993, just 4 years after Major League had turned the Indians into a subject of humor, the team's roster had Albert Bell, Sandy Alomar Jr., Carlos Baerga, Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, Omar Vizquel, and Kenny Lofton.
Even though those were dark days and that old Cleveland Municipal Stadium was cavernous and empty most of the time, we had a ton of young talent. So I think we knew that we had a chance to be really good.
Our ball club projects to have an impact player at every position. You know, as much as we tried to go out and sing the song, it fell on deaf ears. I mean, I felt like the old politician going around with the megaphone saying, you know, come on, this is going to work. You know, there wasn't a lot of hope there.
Hey, Bryce Harper, quick selfie? Wait, how'd you get out here?
Oh, don't worry, I've got T-Mobile. It's all unlimited, so I've got unlimited access to all things MLB.
You sure about that?
Yeah, hey, can I have some of the Pine Tar?
Check it out. Unlimited data meet unlimited grip. Hey, the guys need me in the bullpen. Sorry.
That's the dugout.
I know, yeah, totally.
We can't really give every fan access to the field, but we can give you America's best unlimited network, T-Mobile.
These are the people who make Gentleman Jack. Cultured, refined. Just kidding. They're the same folks who make Old Number 7. They simply take the time to mellow it twice. Gentleman Jack, from the makers of Jack Daniels.
For centuries, our families fought together against their common enemy. Despite their differences, despite their suspicions, we need to do the same if we're going to survive. Because the enemy is real. It's always been real.
If you like the iconic chalupa from Taco Bell, you're gonna love this. Double the seasoned beef with nacho cheese sauce. The new limited edition Double Chalupa. Love it while it lasts. Only at Taco Bell.
I'm not playing with you. I can bend a little bit. I can play a little bit. I'm here for you. I can see a little bit. I can see a little bit of you. I got a hold on you. You got a hold on me.
My name.
Alex?
Mine too.
I got a new swimsuit with glitter and fringes, and I got a case of the too many binges.
Going somewhere? Here's some advice. TripAdvisor now searches more than 200 booking sites to find the hotel you want and save you up to 30%. Trust this bird's words. TripAdvisor.
Ever feel like you need an extra set of hands? Introducing the Wastebasket, the next great breakthrough in personal portability accessories. Not a wastebasket, a Wastebasket. Carry all your books, read, and walk down the stairs. Get everything from your car to your house in just one trip.
Wow, that was bad. Wouldn't it be great to tell them? Now you can. Become an online survey taker at bigspot.com and get paid for opinions on the products and services you use every day. Your opinion is worth something at bigspot.com.
Finding the best hotel price is now a safe bet because TripAdvisor searches over 200 booking sites, so you save up to 30% on the hotel you want. Lock it in. TripAdvisor.
In Cleveland, it was always that angst that what's going to go wrong next? What's the next big misfortune?
The 1964 Browns were the last ones to win a title. So the landscape by the early 90s was one of desperation.
It was a tough time to be, a Cleveland fan because nothing was going to go your way and your teams weren't going to win.
Cleveland sports for some people was Shakespearean tragedy, and it was going to come with a name, usually one word: the drive, the shot, the fumble.
Oh, I'll tell you, I lost it. Ernest Biner falls at his knees at the goal line. I was sobbing. Amidst the tears, I remember telling my mother, unequivocally, I will play on the first Cleveland team that wins a championship.
In the winter of 1993, the Cleveland Indians found themselves in strange new territory. They had a roster loaded with young talent, and after years of playing it frugal, were ready to go after some big names in free agency.
When John Hart called a press conference and we heard he was signing Eddie Murray and Dennis Martinez, this was a shock.
Hi, everybody.
I knew Dennis, I knew Eddie, I knew what those players thought of Cleveland.
Well, at this point in my age, it doesn't matter where. But, I think it's going to be a real great place to be again.
All I can say is we got some nuts and we got some semi-nuts, and we got some laid-back people here, and really, it could really make for a pretty good mixture here.
And the Indians weren't just getting new players in 1994. They were also getting a new ballpark. For 61 years, the club's home had been cavernous, charmless Municipal Stadium, where we filmed Major League. Now they would be moving into brand new Jacobs Field on opening day.
It was so beautiful. It was like, walking into Disneyland.
Park's beautiful. It's great. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to believe it's in Cleveland. It's really nice place.
For the first time at Jacobs Field, your 1994 Cleveland Indians.
That was the first time that we see a ballpark back. It's like when you in Christmas you get a gift. That was a gift for us.
Please welcome legend Bob Feller.
For the first time, I think this city was like, this is what a baseball park is supposed to look like.
Finally, this beautiful new ballpark was going to open, and I looked at the schedule and I went to Seattle. Randy Johnson.
Here he goes, Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson is the man of the hour here in Cleveland.
His stuff that day was like stupid electric.
Breaking ball over for strike three.
No pitcher in the history of the game's ever thrown an opening day no-hitter except Bob Feller. And he sure as heck didn't want Randy Johnson joining him.
The Indians are gone here in the fifth.
Bob, God bless his soul, he's sitting up in the press box. You could tell it was killing him inside.
Randy Johnson, can he join this man?
I can see Bob to this day pacing up and down the hallway like an expectant father in the hospital. I thought Bob was going to go down and get a bat himself.
He was dealing for 8 innings, and I happened to hit a ball to right field, get a base hit.
There it is, base hit to right.
Then the team kind of reacted.
Rip to left, back it goes, it's off the wall. We're tied at 2.
I think the fact that we came back and won that game, I think it set a mindset of resiliency.
Base hit down the left field line. The Indians have won it.
Here was this great town, and then you add something new, and it's like the old cliche, if you build it, they will come. Well, they did.
The Indians win again.
We were winning. We were off, and we were playing good after 40-plus years of losing. People were interested. People were excited. We were getting 38,000 on weekday nights in April and May in Cleveland, and that's unheard of.
people were energized from the first pitch to the last pitch, and every time we won, we're in the streets celebrating, honking horns. It was a city falling in love with the team.
But while the Indians were the biggest story in Cleveland, they were barely a blip on the national baseball radar. At least until Albert Bell got everyone's attention.
Doesn't like what he saw at the end of that bat.
Somebody tipped off the White Sox, obviously, that Albert was doing something with his bat. So they confiscate the bat. Umpires put it in the room.
There's a good guy to give it to.
Well, Benny will take care of it. I'll tell you that right now. That will not get out of his hands.
When the inning was over, I asked him, I said, is that bat corked? And he looked at me real funny, and he didn't say nothing. I go, oh, okay.
As that was going on, we were in the game. So, you know, you're like hearing all this stuff.
All of a sudden they say, well, we all right. What are you talking about? It's all right, you know. We got the bat back. How the heck y'all get the bat back?
Jason Grimsley goes through the ceiling tiles like he's a ninja, you know, and Grimsley was crazy anyway, so he was like, he climbed through the ceiling, dropped in, and grabbed Albert's bat, but he didn't put another Albert Bell bat in there.
He left a Paul Sorrento bat. So, you know, you didn't have to exactly be Columbo to figure out that something just happened. And the only thing we could figure out is all Albert's bats must have been corked.
Bell was ultimately suspended for 7 games, but the tale of Albert's corked bat wasn't the only colorful story coming out of Cleveland, with a rookie right fielder attracting some attention of his own.
I can tell you a lot of stories about Manny. I mean, some good ones, really.
I was actually on rehab assignment in AAA when O.J. Simpson had the white Bronco chase and all that. Manny thought it was me. I mean, my last name is OJ, but not OJ. So he thought it was me.
I don't know.
So because your name was OJ, he thought you were in the Bronco?
Yes, he thought I was in the Bronco. He thought I had killed my wife.
Back up!
We're in Kansas City one day. Manny says, me and Julian Tavares want to buy 2 motorcycles. Can you lend us like 14 grand? That's what we need. And they said, I'd gone to John Hart, but he won't loan me, he won't give us an advance on our salary. And I'm looking at Manny like if he's kidding me or not. Manny, you know how much reporters make, don't you?
The Tribe's eclectic mix of personalities was matched by its talent. With the club in the playoff hunt in mid-August and their fans primed for their first pennant chase since the mid-50s.
We were 14 and 17 after the first 31 games that year, and then we went 52 and 30.
Bray with a drive to deep right field. That ball is going, and gone.
We were a team that was really starting to put it together there in August.
He swings, and Cleveland has won the game.
It looked like a whole new ball game for the Indians.
At least until the bad luck struck again.
On August 12th, baseball went on strike. A few weeks later, it was official. The season was canceled.
When the strike hit, it was almost like a shock to us. Like, why did this have to happen now?
Even though I think the White Sox was ahead of us at that time, they had no chance.
We say, no way. We are going to the playoff for the first time.
It was like beyond belief. It was like, you know, this really cannot be happening.
Here in Cleveland, they are talking about that black cloud that seems to follow the Cleveland Indians everywhere.
It just kind of fed into, uh-oh, are we going to have another one-word name for this season? Sure enough, the strike.
Thursday, which teams made the grade in the first half? TV's best baseball analysts size up every big league team's performance so far with a preview of the stretch run to October. MLB Tonight's midterm report card, Thursday at 6 Eastern on MLB Network.
Howdy. Hey. Here we go. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's not your car.
Car's ready.
Wrong car.
Isn't that your car? I would love to take it, but no. I'm so sorry about that. You guys want to check it out?
someone else's car.
This is beautiful.
What is this? It's the all-new Chevy Equinox.
This feels like a luxury SUV.
I love this little 360. How do they even do that?
I made a bad decision on my last car purchase.
Well, your car's here.
Bummer.
Wah, wah. I'm ready for an upgrade.
Things are about to get real. New Kingswood barbecue sauces. Real ingredients like brown sugar and smoked hickory. Built on 90 years of grilling tradition. Start something real. New Kingswood sauces.
Every day, people are fighting type 2 diabetes with fitness, food, and the pill that starts with F. Farxiga, along with diet and exercise, helps lower blood sugar in adults with type 2 diabetes, lowering A1C by up to 1.2 points.
Do not take if allergic to Farxiga. If you experience symptoms of a serious allergic reaction such as rash, swelling, difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking and seek medical help right away. Do not take Farxiga if you have severe kidney problems, are on dialysis, or have bladder cancer. Tell your doctor right away if you have blood or red color in your urine or pain while you urinate. Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, genital yeast infections in women and men, serious urinary tract infections, low blood sugar, and kidney problems. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have signs of ketoacidosis, which is serious and may lead to death.
Ask your doctor about the pill that starts with F and learn how you can get Farxiga for free. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
We the people are tired of being surprised with extra monthly fees. We want HD and every box and DVR all included. Because we don't like surprises.
Yeah, it's like changing up the celebrity at the end to someone more handsome and talented.
Really?
And British.
Switch from cable to DirecTV. Get 4 rooms with HD DVR and every box included for $25 a month.
And that's how a pelican took my wallet. Oh no, I've got this. I'll use MasterPass.
The simple, secure way to pay, no matter where your wallet may be.
Oh, I didn't even tell you about the monkey.
Bringing home an amazing story, priceless. Don't just buy it, MasterPass it.
In April 1995, 9 months after the strike wiped out the Cleveland Indians' best season in more than 4 decades, baseball returned to Jacobs Field.
That's deep to left, and he got every bit of that.
And as other cities struggled to win back their disheartened fans, Clevelanders packed their ballpark to capacity.
They waited 9 months to see baseball here at Jacobs Field, and tonight they see a winner.
This is what the city had been waiting for. The young Indians were all grown up. They were dangerous, and everyone knew it.
To say the 95 Indians had a swagger doesn't do swagger justice.
I mean, always say you're not cocky, you're just convinced that you can get the job done. And I think that was our attitude. We had our music going.
I remember that song that they got at the time, This Is How We Do It. This is how we do it.
Once again, a home plate celebration.
Every time before the game and after the game, we just put the music and everybody got loud, you know, and pop it up and say, hey, we're gonna get it.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night.
Cleveland loved that 95 club because finally Cleveland was the big bad bully kicking sand in somebody else's face.
This is how we do it.
He was Murder's Rose lineup, man. It was top to bottom.
Kenny Lofton and Albert Bell and Manny Ramirez, Paul Sorrento and Jim Thome. These guys had so much fun. They didn't just like to score a run here or chip away. They liked to bludgeon people.
The ball is gone, and the Indians win the game.
Whenever you'd go out and have a drink with another pitcher, they were like, man, I really don't want to face y'all. They would always come up with some lame injury.
The reason that I signed with Cleveland is they were averaging 7.5 runs a game. And I thought, my abilities are starting to go down. 7.5 runs, I can wait around for that W.
This ball is gone. Every time we step in the field, we want the people know, the world know that we are the man.
Ho-hum, we're up 3-0.
I remember Jim Thome, one of the nicest guys on his team, bat flipping. When Jimmy starts doing that, this is now infectious.
That's just the way we do it, I guess.
The Indians' unstoppable offense rendered the long-sought hopes of a pennant race all but moot. By the All-Star break, the Tribe had a 12-game lead in their division. Every home game from mid-June on was sold out. And Albert Bell, whose attitude had nearly got him released a few years earlier, was so popular that he had his own candy bar.
That's one of the reasons why we're in first, you know, we eat a lot of candy bars.
I had a full head of hair before I ate one of those.
At age 28, Bell was having his best season yet, on his way to the only 50-double, 50-home-run season in big league history.
With Albert, we can really make a book about. You know, Albert was a really strong personality. He had a game when he was 4 for 4, and he popped out in his 5th at bat, and he was really mad. And when we came to eat, he turned the table around because he was mad. He broke all the plates, and it was food all over the place.
I heard from a lot of people too that he was crazy superstitious.
Pretty superstitious.
He don't like nobody to sit in his chair, and we find out a reporter was sitting in his chair, and he don't even like the reporter. And he just said, "Hey, what are you doing? Get out of here! Get out of here now!" That night, he got 2 more home runs.
It's gone! A grand slam home run!
So the next day, we're coming back from the batting practice. The guy is way out because he don't want to get near Albert. He said, "Hey, what are you doing? Come down, sit down, relax." I said, "Oh, now you want him because you hit pretty good yesterday." So that's how he is. He was superstitious.
With Bell anchoring a lineup that led the majors in nearly every offensive category, and Dennis Martinez, Oral Hershiser, Charles Nagy, and closer Jose Mesa leading a staff with the best team ERA in the American League, the Indians went an incredible 144 in the strike-shortened regular season.
If they'd have played 18 more games, they very well could have set the all-time record for wins.
And on September 8th, yet another sellout crowd at Jacobs Field witnessed a moment that hadn't come to Cleveland in generations.
In the air, Tommy at third, and the season of dreams has become a reality. Cleveland, you will have an October to remember.
I'm going to tell you a story that I think probably sums it up as much as anything. In 92 or 93, this man came up to me and he said, when I was 7 or 8 years old, I used to go with my dad to the Indians games. The bond that Dad and I had was just something that I'll never forget, and I would like to have that bond and that experience with my son when he gets old enough to understand.
We'll win! Yeah! This is how we do it, and on Friday night.
In 1995, when Jim Thome caught that foul ball, my first thought was we've just erased 40 years of suffering in Cleveland. My second thought was, I hope that guy's here with his son.
No, please, hold.
The running of the Bulldogs? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Aaliyah saved by switching to Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
When you schedule with Safe Flight Auto Glass, you get time for more life. This family wanted to keep the game going.
Hey, Mom, one more game?
With Safe Flight, you get a text when we're on our way. You can see exactly when we'll arrive.
Sure. Bring it. Get him.
I'm Micah with Safe Flight,
Thanks for coming. It's right over here.
giving you a few more minutes for what matters most.
Take care. Bye. Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, isn't it time to let the real you shine through? Maybe it's time for Otezla, a Premolast. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clearer skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't take Otezla if you're allergic to any of its ingredients. Otezla may increase the risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Side effects may include diarrhea, nausea, upper respiratory tract infection, and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Ask your dermatologist about Otezla today. Otezla, show more of you.
There's a more vivid window into your games with a stunning 4K display and graphics that bring them to life.
Peter, you still with us?
The Dell Inspiron 157000 Gaming. Dell, as real as it gets.
20 more years of this job? Yikes. My kids say, go for it, Mom. Be that woman who does what she loves, knows what she wants. Yay, Mom's gonna go for it! Except I don't have a clue where to start.
Hey, we hear you. That's why AARP has resources to help you navigate the job market. We'll connect you with employers that value your experience and provide tips and tools to find work you love.
If you don't think this is right for me when you think AARP, then you don't know ARP. Get to know us at aarp.org/possibilities.
Baseball's biggest bats are on MLB Network's Friday Night Showcase. Home Run Derby champion Aaron Judge leads the Yanks into Fenway for an AL East clash with Mookie and the Sox. Join Cott and Costas for MLB Network's Friday Night Showcase, live at 7 Eastern.
When that air gets cool and the shadows get long and they're hanging the bunting out in Cleveland, pretty special.
It was October of 1995, and for the first time in 41 years, there was postseason baseball in Cleveland.
We're starting, and here it comes! Showtime in Cleveland, Ohio!
During the Indians' blistering regular season run, no team had any answer for their devastating lineup. In Game 1 of the AL Division Series, the Red Sox would leave no stone unturned in trying.
Here's a smash to deep left. This ball game is tied. They have taken Albert Bell's bat. You remember he was suspended after a court bat incident last year.
They was saying that he was using a court bat, and he said, no, I got power to do it.
That was maybe a little bit of that swagger. We kind of all fed off of Albert, and I think that all pumped us up when he did that.
2 out of the last of the 13. 3-0 to Pena.
Now, either he didn't see the take sign or he ignored the take sign. But he wasn't supposed to swing at the pitch.
Oh, man! Tony Pena on 3-0 sends everybody home.
And I always thought that represented in some way that team, too. Because it was just like, Tony Pena, oh, shoot, I'll just hit it out like everybody else.
Boston would never recover from that Game 1 loss, and the Indians swept the Sox in 3 games. Then, against Randy Johnson in Seattle in the championship series, it was the Indians' turn to work for an edge.
We have a meeting, in the clubhouse, and we talk about, Kenny, you have to make things happen. When you bottom him, he go crazy. He throw the ball away, stuff like that.
Johnson can't get him at first.
I'm always trying to be aggressive.
Lofton goes, no play.
I was on second base. Omar was hitting. I don't think he's gonna, hit a ball to the wall. So if he hits a ball, just goes straight to the infield. I'm gonna try to make sure I score.
It gets away. Heading home is Amaro. To third is Lofton.
And I just looked up. I'm like, why is he just standing there? I just kept going.
And now here comes Lofton all the way, and he scores.
I looked at the dugout, and these guys was like, what just happened?
The Cleveland Indians, after a 41-year wait, are in the World Series.
After beating Randy Johnson, we hit the ground in Cleveland at about 5 in the morning, and there were 10,000 people. Players went out, they were shaking hands, signing autographs. It was an awesome time.
They've been the 10th man all year. Our fans have been the 10th man.
We say, wow, you can imagine we win. No matter what time, they're going to be here. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people.
We are proud of the fans. I know they're proud of us.
So that was a good taste that we have If we win everything, it's going to be crazy, Cleveland.
They were the toast of the town. The one problem was the goal was just to get to the World Series. That was like their title. And I never thought they were fully engaged in the World Series like they were the first 2 rounds.
This is the way it should be. The 2 best teams in baseball meeting in the World Series, the Cleveland Indians and the Atlanta Braves.
The Braves, they were the gold standard. They were the gold standard. So we were playing against Mag Sklavin, Schmaltz. These guys were among the most special players obviously in a generation.
Maybe the best pitcher of his time in the minds of many, Greg Maddux is on the mound tonight.
Game 1, he pitched masterfully.
12 straight sit down by the professor.
I think things started to speed up on us a little bit.
Maybe the stage got us. We didn't deliver.
I was timid. I backed down. I almost was lost.
And he launches one to deep right field.
I pretty much was the GOAT of that game.
Oral Hershiser suffers his first ever postseason loss.
It was such an incredible journey all season long. The next thing you know, you're in Atlanta and you're down 0-2.
Chipper Jones calls everybody up, and the Braves win.
And it's like, holy cow, the World Series has started.
Just like that, the swagger and the arrogance that had defined the Indians was gone. And by Game 5, Cleveland found itself 1 loss away from the end of their dream season.
I got a call about an hour before the game. It's Tommy Lasorda. I don't even say hi, and he is airing me out. He's like, you were a Chihuahua, you were not a Bulldog. I want to see the Bulldog out there tonight. And I took the mound with just fire in my eyes.
Bulldog has him in a frenzy, going back to Atlanta for a Game 6.
And then you go down to Atlanta and the Joe Brinkman game. The home plate umpire decided home plate was 26 inches wide, not 17.
Outside corner. I've got to stop guessing with this guy Brinkman. You can't do it.
Our players kept going, the strike zone's too big, the strike zone's too big.
It was pretty big. I remember one time I told the umpire, hey man, we can't hit that pitch. It's too far outside.
Struck him out.
I think that was a big factor in the series. It's not the reason that the Braves won. The Braves won because they played better than we did.
The team of the 90s has its world championship. Over the full season, there's little doubt the Cleveland Indians were the best team in baseball, but for a week in October, the edge belonged to the Atlanta Braves.
After losing to Atlanta in Game 6, people in Cleveland, they didn't care. Would they have liked to have won? Yeah. But this wasn't going to be one of those Cleveland sports tragedies.
And to make sure of that, the city of Cleveland did something unheard of. They threw a parade for a team that had just lost the World Series.
The next morning, everybody suited up. We got on floats and we cruised down through downtown Cleveland.
I mean, that makes you feel good. Gosh, what a time. What a time.
If you could look out into this ocean of people, it's a beautiful, beautiful sight. You guys are the greatest fans in the world.
This was a Cleveland celebration. Having a baseball team to be proud of, for that year, that was enough. And I think a lot of us thought, we'll win it the next 2-3 years.
These are the people who make Gentleman Jack. Cultured, refined. Just kidding. They're the same folks who make Old Number 7. They simply take the time to mellow it twice. Gentleman Jack, from the makers of Jack Daniels.
Getting an online car insurance quote from my buddy, the General, is a slam dunk. All it takes is a couple of minutes. The monthly payments are low, and you can get immediate proof of insurance. Get your anonymous online quote with low payments and ride with the General.
Hey, Shaq, how about some help up here?
Nope, I'm retired.
For a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time.
Thought the chalupa couldn't get any better? Meet the double chalupa. Get it with a Doritos Locos taco, a crunchy taco, and a medium drink. The new limited edition $5 double chalupa box. Love it while it lasts. Only at Taco Bell.
My 5 hour is my morning wake-up call.
My 5 hour makes me super dad.
My 5 hour keeps me on my toes.
My 5 hour is all business.
My 5 hour keeps me working.
My 5 hour energizes my ride.
My 5 hour gets me up and out the door.
What's your 5 hour?
What's your 5 hour?
What's your 5 hour?
I enjoy the fresher things in life. Fresh towels, fresh soaps, and of course, TripAdvisor's freshest, lowest prices. So, if you're anything like me, you'll want to check TripAdvisor. We now instantly compare prices from over 200 booking sites to find you the lowest price on the hotel you want. Go on, try something fresh. TripAdvisor, the latest reviews, the lowest prices.
I bet you've never seen a bed like this. It's the new Craftmatic Legacy Rising Pillow Rest Adjustable Bed, featuring bedside power plugs, underbed nightlights, and more for less, up to 50% less than Trbfn, Sleep Number, and other adjustables. Call now. You gotta see how little they cost.
Attention! A certain type of hernia mesh has been recalled. If you had hernia surgery and needed revision surgery, you may be entitled to compensation.
Call Sokolov Law, 1-800-230-8128, 1-800-230-8128. I'm a non-attorney spokesperson.
After the 95 season ended, there was a big parade in Cleveland. Everywhere they went, players told me they'd walk into restaurants and people started giving it standing ovations. Of course, nobody could buy a beer or a meal. Everything was taken care of. Now it comes, though, they want to be paid.
Hey, why don't you go get one of your bags?
Albert Bell's heading for free agency. Bell wants to become the highest paid player in baseball. Kenny Lofton, heading towards free agency. Eddie Murray's contract is up. He wants to be paid.
The city of Cleveland is like Eddie Murray. Yeah. That's old guys who've been revived again.
The 39-year-old Murray had led the team with a .323 batting average in '95. But John Hart's contract offer to Murray was for $1 million pay cut.
John Hart tried to rationalize cutting Eddie Murray's contract from $3 million to $2 million, saying Eddie would play some first base, but by the end, Eddie was primarily a DH. Well, you're just a DH, so you shouldn't be paid as much.
We were Cleveland. I mean, we couldn't just write checks and had a bottomless well out there.
Sometimes all decisions like that are not good decisions. Sometimes you gotta pay someone who's shown you that you can get the job done.
You know, one thing about Eddie Murray, he feels that you've wronged him, he's done with you.
Hey, well, y'all get your ass out the way. We trying to hit, man. Back the up.
Despite the controversy, Murray did resign, and the Indians got off to another strong start in 1996. But the conflict would soon come back to haunt the team.
It's like middle of May and they need a little help at first base, and Hargrove says, well, Eddie, I need you to play first. I don't do first base.
Do you remember his displeasure?
Yeah, I do. I'm not going to say a whole lot on that because that's Eddie's business.
By mid-season, the Indians were pulling away again in the AL Central. But Murray was slumping. And the organization was nervous about having a disgruntled veteran leader sitting unhappily on the bench.
We made the decision that it was best for us to move Eddie Murray off to Baltimore and, if you will, sort of clear the air.
That had a real negative effect on a lot of players. They were unhappy because they didn't think Eddie had been treated right.
And Murray wasn't the only Indian struggling. Fan favorite Carlos Baerga was mired in the worst offensive season of his career.
It has gotten very frustrating for a guy who is as popular with his teammates as he is with the fans.
I don't know that we have ever had a player in Cleveland that played the game with more energy, more enthusiasm than Carlos Baerga.
What a prize Baerga is for the Indians, and the fans love him here in Cleveland.
But then he wasn't playing very well.
I came hurt to spring training, and then I started getting more hurt during the season.
Carlos got whacked with that one. That one hurt.
Carlos was my favorite player. You know, at the end of it, it was a tough thing to do, but we made the move. We traded Carlos Baerga. And it was a hard, hard thing to do.
It was hard. I cried a lot. I remember that I was like, this is the only place that I know. You know, I played here for 7 years. My family was here. My kids, they born here in Cleveland, so that really hit me very hard. I even say to the GM from the New York Mets, I said, don't make the trade. I want to stay here. I don't want to go there.
It was a shock heard around Cleveland. I remember the day it was announced, there was an airplane flying around that said, trade Hart to keep Baerga. And it just flew around the stadium all day. And I'm like, boy, I'm telling you, I'm wearing this one.
And you're just kind of going, what is happening here? All of that feel good, some of it is gone.
That confused a lot of us, feeling like, why are you changing what we have? Let us go at this run again.
When you change the complexion of the team, other things start to stand out.
Other things, like the matter of Albert Bell. Even though his MVP caliber back consistently drove the Tribe in '96, the rest of the package had ceased to become a laughing matter.
Albert had some issues in the clubhouse. We had to keep worrying about our light fixtures coming down if Albert made an out.
There was a time he got mad at a photographer who was taking his picture and started throwing balls at him and hit him in the chest with a ball. And another time, he thought the temperature was too warm. He just busted the thermostat.
Put a hole in the drywall like that big.
The bat sticking straight out of the wall.
And then he runs over Vina in Milwaukee.
Oh, Albert Bell lays it on Vina. That will just add to all of the problems that Bell had.
It was always like Darth Vader in the Cleveland Indians. And I think they eventually grew tired of that.
He was in the last year of a deal, and you compound that with some of the issues that were beginning to happen.
Albert Bad Boy Bell.
We just said, we'll leave it alone and let Albert go ahead and test the free agent market.
You know, he was upset about that, but he still kept hitting home runs after everything else. If anything else, it just played into his rage.
Albert Bell in the bottom of the ninth inning, a grand slam home run. Wow. Go figure.
There was some trials and tribulations in '96, the season of discontent, but we felt that we were a club that was going to go deep into postseason.
The Indians' 99 wins were the most in baseball, while Jacobs Field remained packed, with the club selling out every home game of the season.
The Cleveland Indians clinch the American League Central Division Championship.
And in their division series, Cleveland was a decided favorite against old friend Eddie Murray and the Baltimore Orioles. Things went awry quickly.
Boom! Brady Anderson gets a home run right off the bat to start game one.
1-0 Baltimore.
And that almost was a sign of, boy, this isn't going to be like it was.
Down the left field line, finger ball. Eddie Murray has driven in another run.
It was hard to watch. You know, I say, man, I should be there. You know, I should be there hitting against Baltimore, a team that I used to hit really good.
The Indians lost those first 2 games in Baltimore, and then in Cleveland. The postseason ended with a whimper.
Strike 3. The Orioles have won the divisional series.
And this time, there'd be no parade downtown.
I don't think anybody celebrated more than Eddie Murray did.
I wish the organization would have tried to give us another shot at it. We were right there. We was expecting to have the same exact team with a little added to help us, not subtract things from us.
Hello. Mike's, drink on the bright side.
Sharon was given a few months to live if her cancer wasn't treated.
I was diagnosed with advanced non-small cell lung cancer, which I thought meant chemo. But a biomarker test showed I had high levels of PD-L1, which meant I could start with a different treatment.
1 year later, she's here with her family. A true story with Keytruda.
On Keytruda, my scans started showing good news.
In a clinical study, Keytruda offered patients a longer life than chemotherapy, and with high levels of PD-L1, it could be your first treatment instead of chemotherapy. Keytruda is for adults with non-small cell lung cancer that has spread, who test positive for PD-L1, and whose tumors do not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene. Keytruda helps your immune system fight cancer. Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack normal organs and tissues in your body and affect how they work, and may be serious and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you experience new or worsening cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, diarrhea, severe stomach pain or tenderness, nausea or vomiting, rapid heartbeat, increased hunger or thirst, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in urine, changes in eyesight, muscle pain or weakness, joint pain, rash, itching or flushing, as this may keep these problems from becoming more serious. These are not all the possible side effects of Keytruda. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system problems, or if you've had an organ transplant or lung, breathing, or liver problems.
Each day now, it's a gift.
A chance for a longer life. It's true. Keytruda from Merck. Ask your doctor about Keytruda.
With flights getting so expensive, how do you find great deals anymore? Well, Priceline found a way with Express Deal Flights. We partner with top airlines to fill their unsold seats, saving you up to 40%. Just tap and go. Hey, Vegas. You know, I saw this wild show in Vegas with my friend Diana. There were like acrobats and people on wires. Oh, am I boring you? Hello? Flights up to 40% off. Check them out now at Priceline.
There's no such thing as a free lunch, but at DQ, there is such a thing as a free Blizzard. Because if you order Blizzard and we don't flip it, your next one is free. Freestyle!
The famously flippable and tremendously thick DQ Blizzard.
Welcome to Dairy Queen.
Every name stands for something. Few stand the test of time.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. Gonna get their attention.
Now, Bagwell, Reigns, and Rodriguez are cast in bronze forever among the legends who stood before them. The 2017 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Live coverage begins July 30th at noon Eastern on MLB Network.
All I ever wanted was a chance to play Major League Baseball, and the Indians gave me that opportunity. You know, it's unfortunate things didn't work out, and you know, I'm just moving forward, and I'm looking forward to bigger and better things.
A little more than a month after the disappointing end to the Indians' 1996 season, Albert Bell made his divorce from the team official, signing the richest contract in baseball history at the time with Cleveland's division rivals, the Chicago White Sox.
We love Albert Bell, but we couldn't afford him. But that was by choice, you know, that he had a choice.
Albert Bell leaves, and then the Indians are trying to sign Kenny Lofton. He turns down a pretty hefty contract.
So we're in spring training, and we were having trouble getting a deal done with Kenny. And, you know, I told Kenny, I said, look, you know the MO here.
John Hart says, that's it. I'm not going to be riding on the Albert Bell train again with Kenny. He trades Lofton.
Wow, that was one of the saddest moments for me. I was coming to the clubhouse early that morning, and he told me I've been traded. Wow. I mean, my heart just dropped to the floor, and people were in shock.
What do you mean Kenny got traded? There was no rumors whatsoever about Kenny Lofton being traded. None.
Kenny Lofton made it very clear he wanted to go out onto the market, and the Cleveland Indians were not prepared to allow that to happen, and we come up with nothing.
My youngest daughter at that time was 8, 9 years old. Kenny was her favorite player. And when we traded Kenny, she didn't talk to me for about 4 or 5 days. She was ticked. And, I didn't blame her.
When he left, it was like, okay, who are we getting?
But then you get Marquise Greason and you get David Justice. So like, whoa.
When you see who they got with Marquise Grissom and David Justice, I'm not surprised. Those two guys were two key opponents we had just lost to in '95.
We got rid of a winner and got 2 winners. So, do the math.
So you go from some of the heroes of '95, Lofton, Baerga, Bell, Murray, gone by the opening in '97.
The new-look Indians got off to a slow start, playing just 500 baseball for the first 2 months of '97. And then in early June, their former star left fielder made his return to Cleveland in his new uniform.
Oh boy, yeah. You knew things were going to be hostile when Albert came back.
And they are booing here in Cleveland. Albert Bell is being greeted by some of his fans.
I just remember all this wind and all this paper money blowing around left field, and Albert standing there playing, and the fans were throwing stuff at him.
I don't know if there's anybody in Cleveland anymore that's got a monopoly game with money.
That's some big money right there. Big bucks.
Bell would have the last laugh that day.
You can put it on the board! Yes!
Going 3 for 5 with a home run and 3 RBIs in a White Sox win.
And then Albert turned around and flipped everybody off. And it was like, God, what is going on here?
Without Bell, the Indians continued their uneven play deep into the summer, hanging on to first place, but hardly looking the part of a World Series contender.
That ball club, I thought that we struggled to find our identity, for most of the year. Things didn't click for us. We were in August. Whenever Jim Thome's birthday was, that's when it was. Everybody decided that we would all wear our socks up high in honor of Jimmy for his birthday. Because Jimmy wore his socks up high, which not a lot of people did then.
For my birthday, guys ended up pulling their socks up, and we won a ball game.
Marquise Grissom, a grand slam home run, and it's 7-3.
Next thing you know, everybody was like, hey, keep them up, and we won another one, and we won another one, and then all of a sudden, we ran with it.
Dave Justice comes through. And the Indians win it.
That, for me, was the defining moment. It was when the ball club kind of came together and found their identity.
The Indians win it 2-1.
And the ball club absolutely took off. That's when we played some of our best baseball. It was the last month of the season.
Ultimately, the recipe of big bats doing the big work was familiar. And in an AL Central with no other teams better than 500, the Indians managed to win another division title despite winning just 86 games.
After winning 100 games and 99 games, we eked in.
The Twins have beaten the White Sox, eliminated them.
Welcome to the American League postseason.
Well, I'm glad to be a part of a great team, and we got 2 more hurdles to jump, and I think we're going to do fine.
We want to win the World Series, plain and simple. Our goal is to win the World Series. If it happens, that's great. If it doesn't, it won't be because we didn't give it everything we have.
Thursday, which teams made the grade in the first half? TV's best baseball analysts size up every big league team's performance so far with a preview of the stretch run to October. MLB Tonight's midterm report card, Thursday at 6 Eastern on MLB Network.
You want to know the secret to victory? Fail to make the varsity team.
Start your career as a walk-on.
Take a perfect team and blow a perfect season.
Spend 108 years as a lovable loser.
Be on the wrong side of the biggest upset in your sport.
You really want to know the secret to victory?
Heartbreak for Matt Ryan, who is in utter disbelief.
Defeat.
Yeah!
Make defeat your fuel.
And that's how a pelican took my wallet.
no, I've got this. I'll use MasterPass.
The simple, secure way to pay, no matter where your wallet may be.
Oh, I didn't even tell you about the monkey.
Bringing home an amazing story, priceless. Don't just buy it, MasterPass it.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, isn't it time to let the real you shine through? Maybe it's time for Otezla, a Premolast. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats plaque psoriasis differently. With Otezla, 75% clearer skin is achievable after just 4 months, with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't take Otezla if you're allergic to any of its ingredients. Otezla may increase the risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Side effects may include diarrhea, nausea, upper respiratory tract infection, and headache. Tell your doctor about all the medicines you take and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Ask your dermatologist about Otezla today. Otezla, show more of you.
So Wendy's has noticed that you love queso.
Guilty, Your Honor.
Oh, they got you. Because your queso obsession has inspired Wendy's queso mission. Introducing Wendy's new bacon queso burger, chicken sandwich, and fries. Because everything's better with queso. And you're staring.
Sorry.
The bacon queso burger, chicken sandwich, and fries. Inspired by the queso obsessed, for the queso obsessed.
Even after a third consecutive division title, the Indians found themselves in the unfamiliar role of underdogs as the 1997 postseason got underway.
Going into the playoffs, you're like, well, if we couldn't get out of the first round last year, this isn't good because now you're playing the Yankees. They're the defending champs. They're loaded. So it looked rather ominous.
But a combination of experience and clutch play helped them dethrone the Yankees in the ALDS.
The Indians have eliminated the New York Yankees.
And next, in the ALCS, they got their revenge on the Orioles.
The Indians are headed back to the World Series.
That postseason was magical. I mean, it was magical.
The whole way through, it seemed like it was kind of destiny that we were going to be in the World Series because things just kind of went our way.
The Indians were the American League champions for the second time in 3 years and would face the upstart expansion Florida Marlins in the World Series.
Well, we loved our chances. We really believed that that was our time.
And certainly you're not taking the Marlins for granted. They had a lot of talent, a ton of talent.
The Marlins, they are the best team money could buy this season.
You know, this seemed like some hired guns and a bunch of assassins coming in. And there's no way we're going to let a team like that, beat us.
In our minds, we couldn't be denied.
Back and forth. In both tight battles and big blowouts, the clubs traded wins over the first 6 games.
It was every other game. Lose, win, lose, win, lose, win. You end up 3-3.
Game 7 tomorrow night.
The Indians were now 1 win away from the club's first title in 49 years. And the moment might have meant more to Cleveland native Brian Anderson than anyone else.
What would a championship mean to the city of Cleveland?
Well, we'd probably cure a lot of people's insanity. Because they've been so close with the Browns and the Indians. They were close in '95, and then last year, the city's been thirsting for a championship for so long that I'm sure if we get one, it's probably a good thing we're down here. The place is going to be crazy.
Things had come full circle to a promise he'd made to his mother while watching Ernest Biner's infamous fumble.
We're sitting at brunch before Game 7 of the World Series in '97. I'm like, Mom, you remember I said I'm going to play on the first team that wins a championship? I was sobbing. I was 15. I hadn't even made the high school team yet, which is why when you fast forward 10 years, I knew we'd win. This 10 years ago, remember? It's going to happen. This is a done deal. Got to be a part of that one too. Not good. Not good.
The Indians faced a dilemma on the mound in Game 7. Start their struggling ace, or a young rookie with a perfect 3-0 postseason record.
Charlie Nagy was supposed to start Game 7. Charlie was struggling a bit in the playoffs. The Indians had called up this pitcher named Jarrett Wright at midseason. Jarrett got hot when the games went the most.
So much for the nerves for Jarrett Wright. He is absolutely thriving in this atmosphere.
So it's like Indians are going into Game 7. Mike Hargrove is tormented.
Charles Nagy may be one of my all-time favorite people. I have a huge soft spot for Charlie. If I made the decision with my heart, I would have started Charlie. But Jarrett Wright had pitched really well for us, so I felt it was a better fit for Jarrett to start it.
Wasn't happy about it, but you know, it was the best decision for the team.
And the 21-year-old right-hander, Jarrett Wright, the rookie, gets the call.
They told me, hey, you're starting Game 7. And honestly, I didn't get nervous. It was like, cool, let's do this.
Breaking ball got him. First strikeout for Wright.
We wanted him on the mound. You know, I mean, he was a guy, you know, had electric stuff.
Struck him out with the high fastball.
He went out and threw the ball great. Got a couple of runs early.
And Fernandez with a liner into center for a base hit. Tomey scores. Grissom is right behind him. It's 2-0 Cleveland.
He gives up the one late.
Bonilla sends one out of here. And it's a 2-1 game in the 7th inning of Game 7.
Now you know it's getting late, and the tension is palpable because you realize you're 9 outs away, 8 outs away. You have the lead.
It's a 1-run game as we go to the bottom of the 9th.
So in the 9th, I went up into the clubhouse. And when I went up into the clubhouse, they were building the stage, and they were putting the plastic over the lockers, and I remember thinking, not yet, not yet.
I decided to go to the bathroom, and I saw a bunch of champagne moving from one side to another, you know, trying to prepare for the celebration.
I remember being called down and didn't want to leave my seat. Fought it. Said, hey, I'm not going to the locker room. Don't want to go. We're not. No, you've got to go. You've got to go. Major League Baseball protocol. You go. So I went.
I have to go to the clubhouse to do our post-game interviews and whatnot, and I'm in there watching the 9th inning. They're stapling up the plastic on the lockers. They're wheeling in the World Series trophy.
Trophies in our locker room. Biggest jinx ever.
This doesn't feel right. It's like we are tempting the baseball gods here.
I remember hating that feeling. I wish I hadn't seen it.
It was weird just to see that. I wish I would have never go to the bathroom on that particular inning and see that.
And then sure enough, you know, you could just see it unraveling.
Moises Alou led the inning off with a little broken bat single out in left center field.
Alou just poked it, but it got the job done.
And anytime somebody leads the inning off with a broken bat, anything, it usually doesn't turn out well.
Mesa would strike out Bobby Bonilla for the first out. But then, after getting Charles Johnson to a 1-2 count, the Indians couldn't all get on the same page.
You know, we hardly ever called pitches. In that game, I called fastball in because the 2 fastballs had been away.
1 and 2 to Johnson.
Sometimes the manager are too intelligent and call the pitch from the dugout and relays the sign to the catcher.
I just felt like he threw a fastball in, Charles was out. And Jose kept checking it off, didn't want it.
If you never call the game on me, why are you going to call the game tonight? You know what I mean? Let me pitch my game. I know how to do it.
Jose shook it off, and I said, you know, let him throw what he wants to throw. Threw a little slider away that he hit a little dinker out to right field.
A line drive to right that drops for a hit. Alou is on his way to third. Runners at the corners with 1 out.
And it's like, uh-oh. This inning just got real complicated because now they got runners on the corners.
Then the next guy was Craig Counsell. He hit a fly ball to right field, tied the game.
Deep drive to right. Ramirez makes the catch. Tagging is Alou. Game 7 of the World Series is tied.
When they tied the game, it felt like we lost. It was, oh my good God, maybe it's because I grew up in Cleveland. This is eerily familiar, and it stinks.
And boy, you've never seen plastic come down faster or trophy get wheeled out of a clubhouse quicker.
Extra innings in Game 7.
Now it's an extra innings. Indians are running out of pitchers. Here comes Charlie Nagy in from the bullpen. I don't know when was the last time Charlie pitched in relief. 100 years it felt like.
Prior to tonight, Charles Nagy had made 211 big league appearances, one of them in relief.
Our bullpen had been gassed. Charlie really had no business even being in there. I mean, quite frankly, it wasn't his role.
The Marlins come up in the bottom of the 11th.
Yeah, I came in and Bobby Boat, base hit.
Hit hard through the middle for a leadoff hit.
And then they bunt it. I caught it, almost doubled him off at first base, didn't.
Bonilla is able to get back.
Roller to second. Okay, double play right here. Then you turn around and the ball's rolling in the right field.
Fernandez has it go through him. Bonilla will try for third.
You know, when you got a guy in second base like Tony Fernandez, easy ground ball, and he booted. So, that'll tell you, hey, everything going right for the Marlins. Nothing you can do about it,
So then you're like, uh-oh. Then all of a sudden you got first and third. Then we intentionally walked the bases loaded. Devon White was up, jammed him, ground ball to second.
To Fernandez, he's got to come home, and it is in time to Alomar.
And then Renteria came up.
So now Renteria bats with 2 out.
Started him off with a breaking ball, kind of buckled him a little bit.
And a breaking ball is in there.
Came back with it, and he just kind of hit one of these knucklers at me, kind of off the end of the bat.
Yeah, it was kind of slow motion.
That was the slowest, that super slow-mo hit that I ever seen. The ball just going over Nagy's head.
You can see the ball just barely reaching.
It just kind of floated.
He didn't hit it all that great, but
it was hit just right.
And it kind of tipped off the top of my glove, and that was the ball game right there.
A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
You're thinking this isn't happening. And it did.
The image I have in my head is Counsell, both arms in the air, coming across home plate. Game over.
It was like a knife just went through your heart.
It was the most heartbreaking feel I've ever had as a baseball player, because we fought so hard that year to get back to the World Series, and we couldn't finish it.
When somebody shuts the lights off and it's over, and that trophy's not in your locker room, it's hard.
I've never seen that many tears in a locker room. These guys, they took it hard. This one was ours. We had it in the ninth. We blew it. It's over.
That was an emotional game, I got to tell you. I mean, I don't really look at that game much, and I don't really talk about it a whole lot.
I still, to this day, haven't watched that tape. Haven't watched it.
I had a guy ask me one time the next year in spring training, said, how long did it take you to get over, losing the 7th game of the series the way you lost it? And I said, well, just as soon as it happens, I'll let you know. I had a guy ask me about 2 months ago, said, how long did it take you to get over that? And I said, just as soon as it happens, I'll let you know. So you don't forget.
Thought the Chalupa couldn't get any better? Meet the Double Chalupa. Get it with a Doritos Locos Taco, a Crunchy Taco, and a medium drink. The new limited edition $5 Double Chalupa box. Love it while it lasts. Only at Taco Bell.
I'm not playing with you. I can bend a little bit. I can play a little bit. I'm here for you. I can see a little bit. I can see a little bit of you. I got a hold on you. You got a hold on me.
My name.
I got a
Alex?
hold on
Mine
you.
too.
I got a new swimsuit with glitter and fringes, and I got a case of the Too Many Benjamins.
Look, I know what you're thinking. This perfectly designed untucked shirt is just a slightly shorter shirt. It's a very small innovation. You're right. Just like a keychain is just a ring to hold your keys. Like pockets, they're just bags for your pants. Like a twist tie, it's just a more flexible paperclip. Sometimes it's the smallest innovations that make the biggest changes and make you look really, really good. Untuck It, shirts designed to be worn untucked. Forgot my floss, yarn for my teeth.
And what about Slammin' Stanton? Or South Beach Smasher?
What are you doing here, man?
giving you a nickname.
No, like here.
Oh, well, T-Mobile's all unlimited, so I've got unlimited access to all things MLB.
All things, huh?
Yep, the Stanton of SWAT.
Nah.
4-bagger with swagger.
No, thanks.
Oh, I got it. Mic drop. Because you used to go by Mike? Maybe?
We can't really give every fan access to the field, but we can give you America's best unlimited network, T-Mobile.
These are the people who make Gentleman Jack. Cultured, refined. Just kidding. They're the same folks who make Old Number 7. They simply take the time to mellow it twice. Gentleman Jack, from the makers of Jack Daniels.
Reason number 12, why you should own a ThermoSpa's hot tub. They require no attachment to your home's plumbing. Simply fill it with a garden hose and plug it in. ThermoSpa's unique thermofiltration system is completely built in and filters the water an incredible 144 times a day, so your water stays crystal clear with very little maintenance. Call to receive a free DVD and 48-page brochure and find out how you can own a ThermoSpa's for only a few dollars a day. And right now, we're offering 0% financing. There will never be a better time to own a ThermoSpa's hot tub. This offer includes free delivery, free chemicals, and a $400 cash coupon. That's $1,000 in savings. So call now and ask about 0% financing.
ThermoSpas, 800-282-8197.
One of the people we were obviously trying to get for the show is Albert, who declined our request for an interview. But in doing so, he left me a voicemail with one point that he wanted to go on the record with that I'd love to actually just play for you and get your honest, candid response to.
I will give you a quote if you want to use it. My memories of the great 90s team is John Hart screwed up our dynasty after the 95 season. So you can quote me on that. All right, thanks, Star.
Yeah, well, listen, that's always a part of players' mentalities and, you know, how you go through it. I think players are entitled certainly to their feelings, but you can't make everybody happy. We made some deals in '96 to move some guys off that actually worked out well, and the club continued to play well. Unfortunately, Albert wasn't on that '97 team that got to Game 7 of the World Series, but it was another World Series team that was pretty special, and it continued right on. We kept rolling.
Albert's got a very long grievance list. I mean, real long. So when he screwed up the dynasty, I mean, I guess you could say they didn't give Albert all the money in the world to stay there, but that's not why they failed to win more pennants.
So what did really happen? After they came so close in '97, the Indians' roster was still stacked, and the team kept winning their division. But they could never get back to the World Series.
I do think, you know, both John and I have some regrets of never adding that true, you know, #1 starter.
We had an opportunity to trade for Pedro during that winter of '97, '98.
The asking price was Bartolo Colon, who's a young prospect. They didn't know how good he was going to become. And Jarrett Wright.
Well, you can't trade Jarrett Wright. This guy's 21 years of age. He gives up one run in Game 7 of the World Series. He looks like the next Bob Feller.
We turned the deal down. Shoot, we were still the team to beat. We signed Robbie Alomar going into '98. We brought Kenny Lofton back. I thought we were the best team in baseball.
At first, it looked like Hart had pressed the right buttons, as the Indians won their 4th straight AL Central title in '98. But Jared Wright struggled with injuries, and without a true ace, the Tribe couldn't compete with the powerhouse Yankees in the ALCS.
You know, hindsight's always 20/20, and Jarrett had some injuries and it sort of derailed his career. And obviously, we watched Pedro just shove it against us every time he went out there.
Most notably, 1999, when Pedro almost single-handedly eliminated the Tribe from the postseason.
You know, we had a 2-0 lead over Boston in the first round of the playoffs and got beat. The night that Pedro came in limping.
Down 2-0, the Boston Red Sox have come storming back.
They had good teams, 98, 99, 2000, 2001. Playoff caliber teams. Never got close to the World Series, though.
Maybe the era symbolically ended on April 5th, 2001, when for the first time in over 5 years, tickets went unsold at Jacobs Field, ending the Indians' record-setting attendance streak.
Those teams didn't have an image anymore. You know, they start becoming a different team, so new players start taking over. And obviously, the years from the 90s were starting to disappear a little bit.
By 2003, there was only one star left from the Indians' heyday, Omar Vizquel, who'd also become an author, publishing a memoir that detailed his years in Cleveland.
I think one thing we've all learned, never write a book while you're still playing the game.
We wanted to put a book out speaking about the experience of the World Series and everything, and obviously we needed to start in the moment that changed the direction of the game. And you know, the moment was the 9th inning when Jose came in the 9th inning, and how Jose was a little nervous, and I described the moment as a ghost moment.
And Omar basically insinuated that, you know, Jose was scared.
The sooner I saw that, I said, listen, if you're going to talk in garbage about me, I'm going to try to let you know.
Gonna bring up Omar Vizquel.
I mean, Mason was a bad dude, man. You did not mess with Jose.
And it's up almost by the head of Vizquel, who ducked under it.
He promised that anytime he faced Omar Vizquel from that point forward, he was going to drill him.
Inside, almost hit Vizquel.
Again, the last time he faced him, he went up and in.
And that's just Bush League.
Those two guys were friends. They were great friends. They sat next to the locker, right next to each other.
I'll tell you what, he never missed him. He dotted him every time.
Mesa pointing his finger at Vizquel, who's screaming back at him.
I want him to charge me. Believe it or not, I want him to charge me. Because what I got inside with him, I want him to go to the mound.
Yeah, I bet he wanted to. Yeah, but I didn't let him get his way.
Safe to say there's no love lost between Jose and Omar.
MLB say that they're going to suspend me for life. Because you know I'm going to hit every time I pitch today. He lucky. If I saw him here in Dominica, me and him were going to talk.
You know, Jose, grow up on that one.
So the aftershocks continued for years after, but none of it changed the biggest headline. The best Indians club ever never delivered a World Series title to Cleveland. In 2016, a new Indians team came up oh so close once again.
You know, I actually came to Game 7 last year against the Cubs and kind of had a little bit of that heartbreak, but they're going to get there. You know, they're going to have their chance. They're going to get there, and it'd be nice to see them win it one time.
So they're still waiting, and they've been waiting longer than any other team in baseball. Waiting for a moment that, if you remember those 90s teams, once felt all but inevitable.
Sometimes I wonder, you know, maybe I'll wake up one morning and we did win it. And 20 years later, that's still not the case.
You know, we'll always be known as the 90s team, but in the same sense, we'll always be known as a team that got that close, and that kind of hurts a little bit sometimes. But the city still loves you. You know, they still love the fact that we did what we did.
All right, drive!
The Cleveland Indians became part of the fabric of the city instead of something they were embarrassed of.
I mean, they sold out a full season for 5 straight years. It's insanity.
Nobody would have ever thought that that could have happened in Cleveland.
I'll tell you, you look back and you're darn proud of what our clubs did.
We was a dominant force at the time.
The Indians win again!
We had teams fear us. Teams didn't want to come into Cleveland because they knew we were winners.
If you lived here during then, you'll never forget it. You'll argue it to your grave that it was the best era of Indians baseball. I mean, you lived and died with that ball club. And even now, here we are in, 2017. This city doesn't look at them as losers.
This is just a tremendous sight out here.
Just soak it all in right now.
You know, there's no pity party. I mean, I loved it. I had the best years of my life in Cleveland.
Yes, sir. I do it.
It was awesome. It was awesome. It was the best time of my life.
We win! Yeah!
My best memory was in Cleveland, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
It isn't just that you have to win a World Series in a town like Cleveland. That wasn't close to anything in terms of winning a title. Those guys gave them a reason to cheer. And yes, it was tough to see them lose in a World Series, but those guys delivered.
Hey there, I'm Tony Luffman, and welcome to MLB Network Breakdown. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to take a look back at the best breakdowns from the All-Star Week in Miami. Rookie phenom Aaron Judge stunned all of us with his performance in the Home Run Derby. Our analysts got an up-close look at all the superstars and analyzed performances in the All-Star Game. We take you through all the highlights from the Midsummer Classic, and it all starts right now.
Buenos días, señoras y señores. Bienvenidos a Miami.
You know I'm back, like I never left. Another day, another breath.
Drama in Miami. If the windows were open, that would have left the building. That's what it's all about here tonight. 513 feet.
Literally jaw-dropping. Get on your feet.
Miguel Sano. He's taking on Aaron Judge.